Hello and welcome to Hammer Down Woodworking. My name is Tracy Maxfield and today we're going to let you know that we are still alive and kicking. It has been a while since our last video. We're going to do a walk around the shop. All the tools are in here except for what I'm using that's in the basement in the remodel job that I have going on down there. But most of them are out here. I don't have anything set up and recalibrated yet. I do have the tools kind of situated in the general location of where they're going to go. Nothing is set in stone yet except for my workbench and wall over here, and of course the radio alarm saw. We'll get to that in just a few minutes. But we're going to take a walk around the shop. I do have the lights on. I do have the power to the building now. And at the end of the video, we're going to kind of go over a little bit of the HVAC unit that I have put in this shop. So stick around. Okay, first of all, let me say that you will, during this little tour of the shop, you will see boxes setting around like that over in the corner, and some's out on the floor in different places. Stuff that has not been packed up yet, so just kind of ignore that mess. Ignore all the mess in here because it is in pretty bad shape. I'm just now getting the power to it and everything hooked up. But in this corner, where you see this cabinet at, that cabinet will probably stay there. That's where I'm going to put flammable liquids. Anything that will ignite and burn is going to go inside of that. It's actually a gun safe. I'm going to build some shelves to go inside that. Spin you around just a little bit. Now the lathe and this toolbox, they are not going to stay up here. The toolbox is probably going to go to the garage portion of this in the back. The lathe definitely will go back there. I'm still undecided on the toolbox, but the lathe will definitely be in the back of the shop. Now this area, which is straight across from the door, when you first walk in the door, you're coming straight across this back wall. I have my workbench. As you can see, I still got some benchtop tools. There's a scroll saw in the floor, a small bandsaw, desktop drill press sitting on top of the workbench. I've got stuff kind of just set around right now because I haven't got cabinets and so on and so forth built yet to set that stuff on. But I'm slowly getting there. There will probably be another bench on this side that runs out that will house some of those bench top stuff and my bench vise, my machinist vise. Let me spin you around just a little bit more. It's raining outside and I'm having to stay close to this mic and to where I'm not having to yell and the mic pick me up over the rain. And the further I get away from it, the worse the echo is going to be. But along that wall, as of right now, I have my clamps just put up on the board. That is temporary. That is a lot of weight that is up there on that. And just as soon as I can get some stuff up and going in here, I want to build a clamp rack that is mobile, that I can put on casters and roll to the job. And all that is going to come down from up there, and I may be putting a wall up on that and fill that whole corner in with a wall, just for video purposes. The shop back, the dust collection system is going to go in that far corner back there, and the plumbing will come down this wall to all of my floor standing tools such as a drill press, bandsaw, router table, and spindle sander. And that will plumb down that wall. And as you can see from this angle, I have my table saws set out in the middle of the floor, and I love that, being able to get all the way around them. I never had that in the other shop. The other shop was just under 600 square feet, and this one is 1,200 square feet. So I have plenty of room in here to work around. The only dilemma that I'm facing right now is getting dust collection to this Delta table saw. You can see some of my dust collection parts in the box and the floor right in front of those table saws. But the only thing that the problem I'm having is deciding basically on which way I want to do it. My dust collection system, as I said, is going to go over in that corner, and the plumbing will run down that wall to the right to all those stand-up tools. And of course, this old Craftsman saw does not have dust collection on it. That's something that I'm going to try to build or fabricate later on. It houses my dado stack, and what I may do is just reverse those two for now, because this Delta does have dust collection on it. If I put it over here, I'm not having to run plumbing as far, and I can come across the floor from that wall over there to that Delta, and that will be the only thing out in the middle besides this milling station that has my planer and joiner on it. It's got a benchtop sander on it too. That will probably come off in time and be placed on a different cart. But that will be sitting out in the middle of the floor somewhere, and what I wouldn't mind doing is just having one hose that I can plug to the table saw, pull it off, plug it to the ports on that, and then retract it back to the wall and not have the hose across the floor all the time. I actually thought about doing a drop hose, and I'm not opposed to that, but on this table saw, if I come down, it's going to be in a way of feeding through unless I come down in an angle or come down beside it and do it that way. But I would really like to just have a retractable line and run it back to the wall when it's not in use, and that would also give me a hose to vacuum up around them, and to also, whenever I use that Craftsman saw, it would give me a hose to vacuum up off the top of it and around it too, because there is no dust collection on that saw. This is the far wall away from the doors, and as you can see, the clamp rack back there, it kind of orients you and give you an idea where we're at. I haven't decided exactly on which one of those tools is going to sit in which one of those spots, but that is the wall that those tools will sit on: the drill press, the bandsaw, that router table, and that spindle sander back here in the corner. They may be flipped back and forth, whatever works, but they will be on that wall, and plumbing for the dust collection will be set up over there. This big blue apparatus with all the drawers in it in the back corner, I am calling this my store. This is the store area. Of course, I have tools and shop supplies and stuff sitting on top of it right now because I've not got the cabinetry and the tables and stuff built yet to mount that stuff on. But those drawers house anything from hinges, door handles, zip ties, brushes, just a lot of different stuff. Anything that even has screws and hardware in it, anything that I need, I go back here. Of course, you can see my lumber piled up on the floor right now. That's another project coming down the road. I want to build a lumber rack that is also mobile, so I can roll it to the door, unload out of my truck, and then roll it in here to any tool that I need to mill it. Also in the corner, you'll see the air compressor. It's a 60-gallon Craftsman, 6 horsepower. It's a 220, 14 amp. I have that wired, hot wired, or straight wired, straight into the breaker panel on the wall back behind it. And as you can see, some of the plumbing laying on the floor, that's for the dust collection, and also the sheet goods on the back, the plywood, that's part of the workbench that I had in the other shop. I don't know yet if I'm going to put that one back together. I may just end up building another one and use that just as scrap material, making templates or whatever. Also, you'll see my horizontal bandsaw. Now, I will probably do a video on that, and the reason being is a lot of us don't use one of those very much. That saw hasn't been used. Actually, it was in the old shop. It wasn't in my last shop tour because it was sitting back over in the floor, back over behind that radial arm saw, and it was kind of covered up back there. It hasn't been used in several years, and I plan on using it in here. If I make any tables with metal legs, those come in real handy just to start it sawing. It will shut itself off when it completes the cut. and you can walk off and leave it. And the saw works great. It does need a new blade in it, and it does need to be calibrated and cleaned up some where it has sat for so long and caught so much dust. Of course, you can see also my shop fan back in the corner. Every shop needs one of those. Now along this wall is the garage door, and as you can see, I've got quite a bit of drywall sitting there on the floor. That's what I had planned on doing today, but I need to be able to get that moved to the basement, and it is pouring the rain, and that stuff costs way too much money just to get it wet and let it fall all to pieces. So I'm going to have to hold off on that for a little while, but it has got my garage door blocked at the time being. Let's move to the radial arm saw and miter saw that wall. All right, this is the wall between the garage door and the entry door. I'll get that to quit swinging. But this is two tools that are definitely going to be where they are at right now. But I want to build a miter saw station all the way down here and incorporate it, remove this table off of this radial arm saw and incorporate the whole miter station into that. Have the radial arm saw on this end, and I can extend lumber that way and have the miter saw on that end or close to that end, and I can extend lumber this way and build a pretty good size miter saw station in that area. And this will be kind of a 360 all around angle view of the entire shop. And as you can see, I still have a whole lot of stuff to get organized, picked up, and cleaned up. And while we are on this outlet, let me explain what I've done about the wiring in this. The lights are on a 20 amp dedicated circuit, and the outlets in this are all double gang, have 4 outlets per box, just like that one you're looking at. And the 2 outlets on the left hand side are on a 20 amp circuit, and the 2 outlets on the right hand side are on a 30 amp circuit. And this wall, there's another outlet there, and you see another one back there next to the clamp rack. There's actually 4 on that wall, a total of 4, and then 2 on this front wall. And what that does by having a 20 and a 30 amp, each side is on their own breaker on those 2 walls. And what that does is it allows me to plug in multiple tools without kicking breakers. I can plug in say my planer into the 30 amp side, and someone can be running a corded drill or drill press or whatever on the 20 amp side, and it's not going to interfere with each other. And that wall that has those stand-up tools on it where the clamp rack's at, there's 4 on that one and 2 on this front one back here where the tool wall's at. They are all on their own circuit. The 30s are on a circuit, and the 20s are on a circuit. Now let's spin back around to the other side. As you can see, right behind that miter saw and that radial arm saw, there is 2 outlets, double gang boxes on that one. They are wired the same way, and there's an outlet right back there and another one right there. Now those 2 and the 2 on this wall over here where the doors are at, where the miter and radial arm saw are at, those are on their own circuits. There's a breaker, 20 amp breaker for the left side of that, and then there's another 30 amp breaker that is for the right hand side. So actually I can run 4 pretty good sized tools in here at one time and never have an issue. I can probably plug in 2 pretty good sized tools into those 30 amps on the same circuit and not have any issues, as long as I'm not breaking that 30 amp load on it. Now I don't know how well you can see this, but those lights are LED. There is 3 rows that has 4 8-foot sections in each row. They are what's called a V-tube. They are 72 watt, 7200 lumens, 64 I think it was Kelvin. They are a cool white light. And I have very little shadow in here except for and under the tools. Of course, you'd have that anywhere. You know, the sun's gonna cast a shadow. But I have very, very little shadow in here. I have actually stood at these tools and just checked that out and made sure that I'm not going to have that much shadow when I'm running them and trying to see a mark that I'm trying to saw to. All right, let's talk for just a minute about this mini split, this HVAC unit. You can see the wall mount unit up there on the wall. Let me see if I can zoom in just a little bit. This unit is actually on. I don't know if you can hear it or not. It's also raining outside, but notice that fan on that. It oscillates up and down, which spreads the heat from the floor up, kind of forces it out. And it also will oscillate inside there back and forth, spreading it out. So it does real good. I had the HVAC guy come and do a load test on this building, and this unit, it's a 2-ton unit, and it's supposed to at 47 degrees it's supposed to be equivalent to 26,000 BTU, and on heat at 5 degrees it's equivalent to 15,600, and maximum cool at 95 degrees is 22,500 BTUs. And I don't know what this number is, but he mentioned it when he talked to me. Says it's a SEER, SEER 18. But evidently that's the size that I needed for this building. And like I said, this building is 40 feet long and 30 feet wide. It's 1,200 square feet. It has 9-foot walls. Let me zoom this back out. But from the floor to the top of the wall is 9 feet. And then to the bottom of the trusses is 10 foot 3 inches, and to the center of the ridge in the middle of it is 12 feet. So it's a lot of square cubic feet to heat and cool, and this unit right here is supposed to do it. And we're trying it out. I'll let you know later on if it works good for me. So far it has. This has been installed for about 2 weeks now. It's a Mitsubishi, and it's the model MSZ-HM18NA. So yeah, it's working good so far. Of course, so far we haven't had any real blistering cold weather either, and it's not been scorching hot. So we'll see how it does. It's supposed to do it real good for this. The insulation that is in this building as right now, it's supposed to be an R16. We checked on it. It's not really rated at R16. I am going to come back with some R13 1-inch foam insulation panels and re-insulate this. It will help heat and cool it, plus it will also dampen some of the noise from inside the shop on the outside of the shop. I was using the impact driver out here when I was putting these receptacles, these double gang boxes on the walls, and strapping the power cord to those aluminum tubes, and you could hear it on the outside just as well as you could on the inside. And I'm not planning on cutting any lumber or anything like that, milling anything big at night. I'm not going to be that neighbor, but I don't want to be a nuisance to them, anyone around close during the daytime either, any more than I have to be. So there's that. All right, well, that is where I am at with the shop right now. nothing's calibrated. As I do some of these tools, such as the table saw and the bandsaw and so on and so forth, I may video those and put those out there just in case somebody does have a Icon 14-inch bandsaw, or someone does have the Delta table saw, or even the DeWalt planer. I'll try to get some of those stuff when I calibrate and reset up my tools after them having been moved actually twice, from the old shop to storage and then from storage to here. I'm going to have to go back through and recalibrate a bunch of these tools, and when I do that, I'll probably will film that and get that out, so maybe it will help anyone that has that same particular tool. Of course, all tools, different brands, different models, are different, and it may not be what you even need to watch, but we'll go through that. I had them all set up. I mean, I really do hope that they are still close, but you never know, and better to do it, not go through and check everything. But anyway, that'll pretty well do it for this video. I do want to mention real quick before we go, if you have any questions about the HVAC, leave them in the comments below. If you have any questions about the wiring that was done in here, how you do the double gang boxes and get run one wire, one cable, actually has 4 wires in it, run one cable, 4-wire cable, 12-3, and actually get 2 different circuits to a box. I'd be more than happy to try to explain that to you and show you how to do that if you need to do that, if it's something you feel like would be beneficial to you in your shop. Also, if there is a lot of do's and don'ts and regulations and stuff to putting in an electrical panel. I couldn't video it. It was dark out here. Actually was doing that stuff in the dark with flashlights pretty much. But if you have any questions on that or anything else that you saw in here, put them in the comments below, and I will try to get back to you just as soon as I can, answer any of those questions that I can. But that electrical panel and setting that pole, that entrance on the outside of this, of course, keep in mind too, that stuff varies from area to area. There is different code restrictions for the county in Tennessee that I live in, and they differ from the next county over in Tennessee from where I live. So keep that in mind. But if you're planning on doing anything of that nature yourself, shoot me an email. I can give you some tips on the questions to ask of your electrical inspector. You can call him, find out who your electrical inspector is from the service provider that's going to be supplying you the electrical. Find out who the inspector is and give him a call. More often than not, they are more than happy to talk to you because it saves them multiple trips of having to come out and re-inspect. So, and you don't want to stick a lot of money in something and find out that it should have been done this way instead of the way that you had done it, and it cost you more money. Nobody needs to be out of that when you can do it right the first time. And not that the way I had to do mine will work for you. It may not, but at least it will point out some things that you may need to ask your electrical inspector. Because if you don't know to ask, you don't know. Just an example, the meter box on the outside pole, where that round meter, where the electrical company will put your meter in, the center of that box has to be between 5.5 and 6.5 feet off the ground. There's an example. But any question that you have on that, or the HVAC, anything that you've seen in the shop, the electrical, the lights, anything, put it in the comments below, and I will try to answer those as soon as I can. Thanks for watching.